We be live.
Hello.
Hey guys, the reason why we're live on my personal channel instead of Atheist Republic is because we've been demonetized on Atheist Republic. But yet we got approved for membership. Not only we got approved for monetization on my personal channel, we also got memberships here now. We got approved for that. So we can basically keep hopping around in our different channels. Every time we get it's like whack-a-mole, we just jump around. So
We're over here. Oh, we're over here.
yeah, so thank you guys for being here. That means you guys successfully realize where we're going to be live. Oh yeah, if you're watching us on Facebook, make sure you check us out on YouTube as well. This one is going to streaming on my personal channel. If you're watching this later on Atheist Republic, that's because we downloaded and uploaded there as well. One thing before we're going to talk about the news, atheism, secularism, culture, politics related news, mostly atheism and religion related. But every time we talk about something political or cultural, people are like, what does this got to do with atheism? Okay, if you don't know,
maybe I just want to talk about it. Okay?
Maybe we just want to talk about it.
Maybe I want to talk about it.
Yeah, okay. That's what are you gonna do? What you gonna do, huh?
I'm the CEO. Stop me.
One thing that I don't know, is it in one of the news? It should have been on one of the news items, but we should announce it before we talk about the news. What? March 23rd is Atheist Day. This maybe include this in the next week's news, not this one. Okay, March 23rd is Atheist Day, so make sure you use the hashtag Atheist Day. Hashtag Atheist Day. You don't have to be. Here's the beauty of Atheist Day. You don't have to be an atheist to celebrate Atheist Day. You could just say Happy Atheist Day to your atheist friends. You could make a statement on Twitter or on Facebook or Instagram saying hey, I'm not an atheist, but we shouldn't mistreat people just because they're atheists. We shouldn't abandon them, ostracize them, demonize them. We shouldn't demand them silence from them to talk about, if you're a Muslim, you want to promote Islam. If somebody is an atheist, they want to speak against Islam, you shouldn't be like, I like the atheists who keep their views to themselves. None of that crap. You should, acceptance of atheists should not come with the conditions of silence, right? We don't say we accept Muslims as friends and allies as long as they don't talk about Islam. No, you could talk about Islam. We disagree. You should still be not discriminated against, even if you're spreading Islam. Nobody thinks that should be a condition on you. Okay, so you could be like, I accept atheists. I think they shouldn't be, they shouldn't be. Maybe they shouldn't go to prison because of expressing their views, or maybe they shouldn't be killed. I don't know. Maybe I don't think that's okay. So use that hashtag. And
Ben is saying, on what platform? We'd be banned from Twitter in this atheist house.
All right.
And so guys, true. Literally any platform. Any platform.
True.
I was thinking, you know how people always say, so happy Atheist Day to all those who celebrate. It's as simple as that.
Right. Yeah. Yes. And also, guys, use a green circle if you want. As a symbol of Atheist Day, okay? You don't have to, but you can. You could draw a green circle in your hand. You could hold it on a piece of paper. You could mention your country and the green circle Atheist Day, and then a Happy Atheist Day. So get creative. You could draw it on your cheek. Don't show your face or expose yourself if you're living in a country where it's not safe to be an atheist,
or family.
Or community or family. Okay, just be careful. It's your responsibility to keep yourself safe. Okay, your responsibility. Educate yourself about the risks that you're taking, and only take the risks that you're very comfortable with taking. Okay.
Fatima is asking, you plan on making art for Atheist Day? Well, it's kind of like everyone's opportunity to submit it themselves.
No. She's talking about blasphemous art.
Oh, that's a good idea.
We have to think of something. And we have a new member. Music Guy is our member here. Who else is a member here? This is amazing. We have members here now.
Well, the only one in the live chat right now is Music Guy. He just became a member on this channel.
Yay. Okay.
Cool. Fatima's dropping the this is a circle.
Hey.
It's like an O. It's like an empty O.
Yeah, guys, actually, you could use that green circle if you don't want to draw, on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram. Maybe just use that as a way to celebrate. Anyways, we need to get to the
this is a 10-second announcement. I realized today that this is roughly my 50th episode doing the news. There was maybe 2 or 3 days where I couldn't join because I was traveling or sick. But this is basically episode 50 for me.
Oh, wow. Congrats.
Mazel tov.
I was excited.
That's exciting, yeah. More exciting than Atheist Day. Okay, no. All right, we should go to the first news, okay? So, Can we clap for the first news?
Yeah, why not?
First news.
Switzerland votes in favor of burqa ban. A far-right measure to ban facial coverings won a slim victory in Switzerland on Sunday, March 7th. The proposal does not explicitly name Islam and also aims to stop violent street protesters like Antifa from wearing masks. Despite this, local politicians, media, and campaigners have dubbed it the burqa ban. Practically no one in the country wears the burqa. The University of Lucerne estimates that only around 30 women wear the niqab. Muslims make up only 5% of Switzerland's population of 8.6 million people. Amnesty International stated, quote, after the ban on minarets, which are the slender towers that are typically part of mosques, a majority of Swiss voters has once again backed an initiative that discriminates against a single religious community and needlessly stirs up fears and division. End quote.
Okay, what's the point of this? Do you have any idea?
So this is a lot of the messaging that I've seen around it was like anti-Muslim bigotry. Like, it would just be photos of women in niqab and being stop extremism.
Okay, let's separate these. I can never say that word properly.
Compartmentalize.
Yes. What are the people? Okay, the people who are promoting this versus the politicians who are made this into law, right? So what's the reasoning behind the politicians? Like, what's the logic behind why this is a good idea?
So wait, I wanted to find a quote. Just a second.
Yeah, Ghost Bunny is a member. Thank you.
Ghost Bunny became a member. Thank you.
Thank you, Ghost Bunny.
I'm gonna slap my computer. Quote, in Switzerland, our tradition is that you show your face. That is a sign of our basic freedoms, said Walter Wolbelmann, chairman of the referendum committee and a member of the parliament for the Swiss People's Party, had said before the vote. He called facial covering, quote, a symbol for this extreme political Islam, which has become increasingly prominent in Europe and which has no place in Switzerland.
Okay, this is nonsense, okay?
It is.
If you want to make an argument that this is for security reasons, then I will still be skeptical. I would be like, okay, show me the studies that shows that this is a security concern. I highly doubt that this was a security concern if only 40 women were wearing it in all of the country, right? If you're like, this is about freedom, this is the opposite of freedom. What are you talking about? Like, we are banning something to show that we're free in Switzerland. Like, repeat that again, but slowly. Okay, so I'm not saying the government should not have bans here and there, because sometimes bans on things or government restricting things and telling us to do certain things for not limiting freedom makes sense if there is a legitimate harm, right? Like, for example, wearing masks during a pandemic. Okay, your freedoms are being limited because we have scientifically proven that this is a harm that the government needs to step in. Okay, we don't want absolute freedom. We want regulations and stuff that is the benefit in the best interest of society. Okay, so that makes sense. But if you come and ban something not because you've shown what the harm is, but because this is the culture, this is the symbol of us, and we celebrate freedom here. Like, you're not celebrating freedom here. What are you talking? It's a symbol of, like, in our country, we're banning here because in our country, women are free to wear whatever they want. Well, up until now, not anymore. What are you talking about? I don't get it. Somebody explain to me. Maybe I'm missing something here. Rivka.
Yeah, I think if you're gonna try and say it's for this reason, that it's, we don't do this, and in Switzerland we show our face, then it seems very exclusionary and pointed, and sort of making some people real Swiss citizens and some not, this line. But these face covering bans always strike me as so interesting and ironic, because you have, in this case, a lot of times when they get a lot of butthurt happens around it, a Western country banning what women can wear and dictating what they can wear and what they can't wear. But I don't hear the same kind, especially from some of the Wokistanis, the same kind of concern for women's freedoms. And it's religion or Islam telling millions of women what they should wear or what they can't wear. So that's one point. But specific to a ban, I think if you say no face coverings in airports, banks, courthouses, that seems reasonable to me. And I think that just because you're a woman and a believer, you don't get a special pass in a lot of those places, because the face covering thing is so sexist. And I always bring this up. There's women walking around high security areas with faces covered, nothing. But try a man walking in a bank with a ski mask.
I think we're missing the point here, because this is not really about airports. Like,
right,
I would get
that's
it.
why I'm saying that's where I support it. You were asking for a response. I do support it if that's how you're talking about it and that's what you mean. But if you're just outwardly saying anyone who does this isn't on our team, which is basically what they're saying, then I think it's because they're saying this is who we are. And in Switzerland, women show their face.
I wouldn't even mind if they said that, hey, like, this is not our culture. They're banning it. This is making it illegal. This is not like, hey, if you want to enter this bank, you need to show your face. Hey, if you want to be in the airport, we need to see your face. Hey, if you want to take a driver's license, we want to take a picture of your face. This is not even in that, right? So, like, Susie, did I misunderstand the news? Like,
you're
this is
right.
Like,
I'm saying those are the only.
Let me finish my question. I know. I know Rivka. I'm just clarifying. I'm just trying to clarify my understanding of it, and also maybe if anybody is misunderstanding what's happening here. And I also want to ask Susanna if this is like what's happening here. Like, this is not specific situations where, like, oh, in this context, this is going to be a security threat. They're banning it in public in the entire country. Is that what they're doing?
So,
no, just
this
is that what they're doing?
Rolled out as a stop extremism thing. So I was looking at some of the visuals that were put out to help push forward this motion and referendum. And so there were two pictures that I saw most frequently. One was like an Antifa person, and they had big dark glasses on, black ski mask, doing black bloc, if you guys know what that is. And then the other one, but no expression. And then the other one was a niqabi with a very angry, mean expression. And they both just say stop extremism. So and some of the verbiage that I've seen hasn't necessarily mentioned security, but they did mention that it's also aimed to block face coverings for violent protesters like Antifa doing black bloc.
Can we get this clear? Is this ban in public in the entire country? Like, that's what they're going to do? Is that what this law going to be for?
That was basically my understanding. Right.
So, yeah, this is insane. This is insane. I mean, I'm willing to be skeptical and be like, okay, fine. Like, this is going to be a security threat. Okay, I will be like for it if you show me the data. But this is like fear mongering. I mean, look at
It
the yeah. I mean, look at this. Is this this is the politician that's pushing for this? I don't know who this person is. I don't here.
A meeting place at the supporters of the initiative.
Okay, look at this. Look at the picture behind her.
That's the one I was talking about. It's an angry, mean Naqabi. But the guy who's an Antifa has no facial expression. It's just a guy in black bloc.
This is like, the Naqabis are coming for you. Like this is absolute disgusting fear-mongering.
This is why I said I believe this was anti-Muslim bigotry. And I don't say that lightly, because in what world does this make sense in a country of several million people that only less than 40 people wear this?
Yeah, and also, like, guys, if we are here against the niqab, it's not because we fear the niqabis. We are against the niqab for the sake of the niqabis. We think they're being like brainwashed into a modesty culture. Like, we're anti-modesty culture, but you don't fight modesty culture by banning, like, making it illegal for people to wear the certain clothes that they. You ban modesty, you not ban. You fight modesty culture by informing people the harm in modesty culture. Niqab is promoting modesty culture. You don't ban the niqab, and people are like, "Oh, this is bad. Niqab is bad. Niqab is sexist." Yeah, I know, but you can't outlaw sexism. You cannot be like, it's illegal to be sexist against women. You have to educate people tell them why niqab is sexist, why it's modesty culture, why it's not a good value. That's why you do it. But this is not these people, they're not doing this for the sake of the woman whose these values are being
they're
being used harmed by them, right? Look at them, they are making the niqabis the enemies themselves. Like, they're like, oh yeah, the niqabi is gonna come get you. Fear the niqabis. This is absolute disgusting fear-mongering. Rivka, what do you want to say?
So I have some answers to the questions. So in some Swiss sites, it said that they want to introduce a clause in the Constitution. It's not just a piece of legislation. It's a clause in the Constitution. That's like a step up. Okay. And it says outlawing face coverings in public spaces. So
non-medical face coverings.
Right. I was about to say on the street, in the park, the grocery store, those would be considered probably public spaces. Exceptions are for security, climate, or health. So if you have to wear a gas mask in a public space because you're, dealing with whatever, you can do it.
Respirator.
Yeah. And you can still wear whatever you want in your place of worship. So that's a little bit more about exactly what it's talking about. Yeah, I think that there is definitely some fear mongering here because they're not talking about it in the context so much of security or equality or, and they're saying, that they're in support of women. But I'm not sure if that's really what they mean. But also, I wanted to say this was very marginally passed.
Yeah, it was slim,
and
narrow.
It was very slim, and also it was a very small voter pool. They're saying like they don't think maybe only 50% of people even came out to vote. So, and it's only the 23rd time in 130 years that they've accepted like a citizen referendum or a citizen initiative. The first time was in 2014. And they have to get like 100,000 signatures, blah, blah, blah. But, and here's to your point, the government and a lot of the parliament opposed the ban because they said it was unnecessary because of the low number of niqab wearers. And because the way Switzerland is divided up, they're all into cantons. So if they want to legislate that for themselves, almost like a state, they can. So it's not necessary to make it nationwide and, add it to the Constitution. So that was what I thought was some interesting just context about it.
Okay, here's the thing, Dolly. You're not listening to me at all.
Yeah.
You don't understand what I'm saying. Saying Dolly's saying, no, wait, you support niqab, Armin? Oh my God, guys, this is
Mm-mm.
not that hard of a concept. Okay, you could. Oh my God, you could be against the values that the niqab is promoting. You could be against what the niqab symbolizes, and also at the same time being against laws that tells women what to wear and not what to wear. These two positions are not mutually exclusive. There needs to be a, if the government wants to say that the niqab is causing harm to society, the burden of proof is on them. They have to prove it. They have to prove the harm. And the harm, they can't just prove any harm. They have to prove a harm that is higher than the harm for that is involved with the government getting involved in telling people what to wear. It has to outweigh that harm.
And that
That does-
wasn't really the emphasis of this motion, this referendum. That's the thing, because Armin isn't, you're not even necessarily against so-called burqa bans in general, just not for this reason. Like,
yeah, there needs to be a good goddamn reason, right? And okay, so and even some bans might be like, you know what, in public you can wear it, but I would be more in fact maybe like be ready to accept if somebody says like, well, you can't wear it as a government official, right?
oh,
Or
easy.
you can't wear it as an employee in the bank or something, right? You could be like, okay, there I can see that, right? There's some points there. I mean, if they allow it for Muslim women, but they don't allow other people for non-religious reasons to have face covering, that's a form of religious privilege that shouldn't be allowed. We are against religious privilege. Like if there are some laws for non-religious people that they can't cover their face or they can't promote their politics or religion or philosophy while they're at work, then religious people, whether they're Muslim, Christian, or Jew, those same standards should apply to them as well. So in those situations, I could be like, okay, I see why a ban here I see the arguments for a ban, okay? But if you ban it in public for why? Like you better have a goddamn good reason. Like, what is this? This is, guys, we're not like, we don't say like we're anti-Islam because Islam limits your freedom. We don't just say that because we're anti-Islam. We're actually looking at the harm of Islam, right? We're not anti-Islam because on principle we just hate Islam. Okay, we look at the cost of Islam, and that's why we're against Islam. So if we are against the consequences of promoting of Islamic values because of the way it limits your freedom, because of the too much authoritarianism, do you think we're not going to have the same standards when other form of limitations of freedom comes into play, when it doesn't show the harm reduction? Again, I'm not saying, oh, like these anarcho-capitalists who say like, oh, no government, like, no, we should be able to do whatever we want. No, okay, no, I'm for capitalism, but I'm also for regulated capitalism. I understand that there are certain harms that the government needs to step in and like, here's a regulation, you can't do this, you can't do that, you need to wear masks, you need to get vaccinated to be able to do this. Those make sense, okay? But the government's job is to prove you the harm before they pass law. They can't be like, well, this is our culture. Since when the government have become the arbiter of what's the culture? Cultures organically change, come and go. Okay, if you don't like certain values, that's the job of activists and people to fight those, inferior cultures. We come and talk against them and tell you why this is not a good culture. It's not the job of the government to come out like, we're banning this culture, we're allowing this culture.
I mean, governments do, and it's called cultural genocide.
Or Iran does it and says that,
Yeah.
their culture is, the cover, the hijab. But this is some interesting stuff too, that so this woman whose name is Saida Keller Masali, who is the founder of the Forum for Progressive Islam in Switzerland, she actually backs the ban. She said the result, meaning that the yes vote on the ban, was rejection of totalitarian ideology, which has no place in democracy. She added that she thinks the results will be, quote, understood abroad. The Islamic Council of Switzerland, however, said that, in their opinion, the vote sort of anchored Islamophobia. The Constitution anchored that in the country. So, to me, like, he's kind of saying, like, when we had a lot of these pre-same-sex marriage, federal decision, some states in the United States, or they wanted to have a federal, ban on same-sex. So they're, getting people to vote on not really liking one group or another.
Yeah.
And sort of cementing that in their constitution. Now, like I said, I think that this seems very adversarial in the sense that I think it really is sort of a us versus them thing they're working on here. Like, if you're part of Switzerland, you don't wear this because we have this open culture, so therefore you're an extremist. Although, like I said, and like Armin pointed out too, like, if you're talking for, no religious privilege, equality between men and women, security reasons, sure, I absolutely would support it. But just for somebody to go, to the grocery store or take her kids to the park, it seems that then becomes a little bit draconian and totalitarian.
This doesn't, people are not understanding that this doesn't mean that we don't think that hijab and niqab are harmful. We do.
Yes,
This
people
is just
don't get it. People don't get
authoritarian,
it. People think that if you're against banning something, that means you're promoting that thing, that you're saying that's a good thing. That's okay. You know what? Let me make it simple for you guys. I don't think the government should make it illegal for you to cheat on your partner. Like, if you go and sleep around against the wishes, let me make this point, because people are a little bit dumb on this. Okay, I don't think the government, if you go cheat on your girlfriend or your boyfriend or your wife or your husband or whatever, I don't think that should be illegal. Does that mean that I am pro cheating? Like, oh yes, Armin doesn't think it should be illegal, so Armin, like, yay, cheating on your wife, hooray. Okay, so here's, let me show you this. Okay, Dali, I know I'm putting you on the spot, but I'm just using your comments. Okay, so like Dali saying, I'm talking about Muslim women, too many of them were forced to wear the niqab and hijab too. Yes, they shouldn't be forced. They should not be forced to wear the hijab or the niqab, and they shouldn't also be forced not to wear the hijab or the niqab. They should not be forced, okay? Either way, it's very simple. And there was another comment by Aryan, okay. Okay, Aryan is saying this is a security issue. Simple. If everyone covered their faces, though, to catch and find criminals, thus barring medical excuses, no faces. I don't know what you're. Okay, here's the thing.
Except for, a mask for COVID.
Okay, not everybody's gonna wear the niqab. What are you talking about? First of
only
all,
less than 40 people.
Only less than 40 people in the entire country.
And how often are Antifa running around Switzerland? When Antifa's doing black bloc, that's for specific direct action.
But here's the thing: even if that was the case, that's not the argument they're making. They're making it so easy. They're saying the quiet part out loud, that they just hate these people and they want them. This is like a fear-mongering tactic. They're not even mentioning security. Like, at least in some other places, they're trying to do fear-mongering, but they're saying, like, this is for security reasons. Like, where's the evidence? This is for security reasons. Just believe us, okay? But here, they're not even trying to mask it as a security reason. They're not even making that point. Let me see what some of these comments. Jay is saying, ridiculous government decree is not how to win people. Oh, yeah, fantastic. Somebody makes sense here. Government decree is not how to win people away from religion, and by singling out this religion in particular, it's just emboldens the xenophobic far right. You
Mhm.
win people over to secular ideas by making more space for their inclusion, not less. Yes. Wow. This I've never seen that. I always never seen a good comment like this.
Usually it's just a nightmare.
Usually it's a nightmare. Wow, Atheist Republic Facebook page commentary is improving. Andrew saying, okay, so this is the one that I want to highlight. Logically, if a country is able to enforce women to cover their face, some nations in the Middle East, then it's quite acceptable that the other nations will ban it. Andrew, you're a moron. Andrew, you're an idiot. So,
my
but
God.
let me tell you something, Andrew. They also let me just put some other phrases here, okay? So logically, Andrew, in some countries they kill people for leaving Islam, okay? So let me just see if your logic works, okay? I'm just saying, logically, if a country is able to kill people for leaving Islam, some nations in the Middle East, then it's quite acceptable that other nations will kill people for leaving Christianity. How about that?
No. The real analogy would be they would kill people for joining.
Oh, joining. Yeah, for joining Islam. How about that? How about that, Andrew? Do you want to apply that logic because they do it? You want to do the opposite? That justifies it, makes it acceptable? And look, you got 36 likes and 1 heart. Amazing. God damn it.
So, you were talking about security and things like that, and how this law seems, or this legislation seems specifically targeted at one particular group, mostly, Muslims, although they're saying extremists. Here's the thing, is that I think there's 26 cantons. They said over half of them already had, before this came up, regulations in place that banned all face covering or face wearing during demonstrations and sports events. So that those laws already existed before this even came into being. So if you're actually talking security, you would just have to expand the places where you find it necessary to see people's faces to laws that you already have. Because a lot of people don't realize that, but there are laws, like, for example, the United States, there's a law about covering your face in the United States when you're driving across state lines. It's illegal. And that came from Ku Klux Klan or the bad K people, but it doesn't matter because we're demonetized. The triple K. It's driving across state lines to do horrible racist things. So out of North Carolina, this law said you can't drive with you can't cover your face on a U.S. highway, interstate. But that's a specific security concern, same as like the laws that already exist in Switzerland. So I just thought that was kind of interesting. And sort of it shows you that it's not really about that.
Yeah, I'm gonna make one last comment and then we need to move because we spent 30 minutes on the first news. It's so amazing to me that so many right-leaning people who constantly say that the government is not the fix for everything, right? That if just because you don't like something, that doesn't mean the government should step in and ban it, right? When it comes to the things that they don't like,
they become authoritarians real quick.
They're like, why wouldn't you ban it? This is bad. This is bad. They're like, guys, you guys were the people that like, why are you relying on the government to come fix all your problems? Okay, fine, it's bad. Why are you guys were supposed to be like limited government people? God damn it, the hypocrites.
They get authoritarian real quick, really quickly. Salva Kumar became a member. Thank you, Salva. Oh, and Armin, you moved all the emotes over here too, right? So
yes.
Use the emotes on this channel? Okay, cool.
Yeah, well, not all of them, just 5 of them, because we need more members to be able to use more emotes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right. Somebody agrees with you, Rivka. Okay.
I agree with that woman.
With that woman. Okay. All right. So can we clap for the next news?
Yes.
And next, the news.
Next news. New study finds that being godless may be good for your health. In North America, several studies in recent decades found that being religious correlates with good health. Some have been led to conclude, according to those findings, that if religion is good for you, then being an atheist must be bad for your health. But according to a professor of psychology at the University of New Brunswick, David Speed, that theory is not entirely true. Speed published his research paper on January 5th, 2021, entitled Godless in the Great White North, Assessing the Health of Canadian Atheists using data from the 2011 to 2012 Canadian Community Health Survey. Some of the beneficial aspects of being part of a faith, a group, or church, including behavioral rules and social support, aren't exclusively religious. Religiously active people may have an advantage over atheists with their strength in social support networks. However, there are a growing number of atheist social media networks that communicate with other like-minded atheists who have similar views and life experiences. Speed offers that an important note to consider. Health and well-being advantages often linked to faith groups comes from the social support structure, not the spiritual beliefs touted.
All right. Was this peer reviewed or anything like that?
I don't know that off the top of my head, but I have institutional access. Let me look. Oh no, it was published in a journal.
Oh really? Okay.
Yeah.
So it's not just the professors come just.
It was published in the Journal of Religion and Health.
Is that like a legit publication?
This is not my field. I don't know. I'm not familiar with that journal.
By the way, if you guys believe this just because reading the title, because let me tell you something, okay? You could find a study for anything you want. I'm exaggerating, okay? But I could show you studies that shows that, being religious is good for your health and mental stuff, right? And I could find studies that shows the opposite. I mean, here's a study, right? But if you are biased enough to be like, we're on the atheist side, and this study shows that we be better, and therefore I'm gonna believe this study right away, okay? You're not, that's not how you do things, okay? Especially if you just looked at the title and you agreed with it without even reading the article. I'm not saying just have that okay, that's a good thing you don't have to research everything all the time because you have a life, right? But you could just add that as a point, okay, I remember a study saying this. I don't know if it was a good study or not. It's okay to be exposed to these and have it in the back of your mind, but you shouldn't become certain about a position because somebody just posted an article that said there's a study that shows this, okay? There's a study that shows this is a weak argument. There are good studies, there are bad studies, there are studies that have been reviewed. There are studies that have been reviewed by good publications. There are studies that have been reviewed by not so very good publications, right? It's not that black and white. It's not that simple, okay? So, but it's okay for you to have a position based on these, though, as long as you hold these positions skeptically, right? So, and as long as you understand that the position that you're holding is a hypothesis because you didn't really look into the study, okay? So, for example, here's what I do. My hypothesis, right, and this study, if it's a good study, would confirm it, that the studies that showed that religious people are happier is because atheists don't have access to the communities that religious people have access to. It's not because God is good for you in any way. It's not because spirituality is good for you anyway. It's because we don't have the infrastructure and the community and the people and the sense of belonging that has been built for the past couple of, give or take 1,000 years or 2,000 years or 3,000 years. They had a head start in building all of this, right? And
5,780, Armin.
Yeah,
over here.
Okay, yeah, well, yeah. Okay, so the reason why Rivka's number is different is because she's ex-Jewish, so she has me and Susanna.
Flex on us.
She had to flex on the ex-Christian and the ex-Muslim.
Oh, you look so cute with your little little baby religion.
Baby religions. That was good.
So I think that you're right. I think that the title is actually misleading because they said that exact thing in the article, saying that it's not the belief that often helps people live longer and they feel happier. It's the community support with regard to religious people. So for me, I think the title should say, new study finds that being godless may be as good for your health as being religious. Because that's what the article is trying to say. I'm reading it, is that if you have a support network and you're an atheist, it's the same positive effect on your health. It's the community, it's the support, it's the feeling of belonging, it's the people you can count on. It's all of these things that are the drivers of higher life expectancy or, self-reported happiness. So that is actually pretty interesting because it's saying that it's not the belief. It doesn't matter whether you believe in God or not if you have a support network.
So I did a little quick background research. I was able to find his paper, and I was looking into the journal. The journal is published by Springer, which is like very reputable. It's up there. And it's a peer-reviewed journal. So I was reading over the abstract of the paper, and he's the end of it says, surprisingly, results showed no substantive differences between atheists and non-atheists for self-rated health, emotional well-being, and psychological well-being. In contrast, results show substantive and consistent differences between atheists and non-atheists with respect to social well-being. Results appear to suggest that while religious groups report superior health proxies relative to atheists, this does not translate to substantive health differences.
Right. By the way, we could do a plug here, but I will also do an anti-plug as well. Because we could say like, hey, by the way, guys, you know where you can find a community if you're not religious?
Yes.
Atheist Republic has a community. Yay! We have a lot of we have local communities, we have international communities, we have local communities all around the world. Okay. However, see, this is how I'm not biased, okay? Because I'm like, well, if you're an atheist, we have atheist communities, okay, which we do have. However, just because you're looking for non-religious communities and support, that doesn't mean the answer is necessarily an atheist-centered, focused community, okay? You could have community and support in, I don't know, like you could have game nights where like you could have like a chess club. You could have a dance club. You could have a knitting club. You could have, I don't know, a community like a poker, night out with people that you go out. You could have a hiking group that you with a community of people that you really rely on, right? You could have multiple. Hey, here, how about that? You could be like, on Sundays I have a hiking group, and on Mondays I have like a movie group that we watch. Like we vote on the next one. Oh, book clubs. Best one, actually. Yeah, you can have book clubs, right? You can have a group of people that you read books with, and then you could meet each other once every week to talk about the book that you read, right? So there's many different forms of community, like this whole idea that you need religion. Again, guys, religions have been trying to pretend like you need them because they give, because they have the monopoly over community, they have the monopoly over charity, they have the monopoly over mental support, they have a monopoly over spiritual, like whatever these days people call spiritualism. They have a monopoly over a sense of belonging, having purpose, and it's all nonsense. Okay, they not only shouldn't have they're not the only source of that. They are an inferior. Like these are people say like it's a lot of atheists, like the Weinstein brothers and I don't know, Jordan Peterson, like people that type like, you know what, even if religion is not good, it has utility. These are desires and needs that we have that religion provides. And guess what? Religion provides that very poorly. There are better ways, that there are much superior ways achieving to supply these demands. And what religion is doing is by monopolizing the supply of these desires that we have, is not leaving enough competition for superior ways to come and compete with it, especially because religious institutions have a lot of unfair advantages, usually even supported by the government, right? So the sooner you get rid of religion, the sooner these superior methods are going to come and fill the gap. Okay, who wants to go first?
Rivka can go first.
Rivka, go.
Oh, sorry. I wanted to sort of just add to what you were saying about religion filling some of these spaces, and that, you know, there's actually room for better ways. I think one of the things that people often forget about why maybe people feel like they're happier with religion or that it supports in ways is because it tends to deal with these big milestones in life that are highly emotional: birth, death, marriage, illness, so you can definitely have more supportive non-religious communities surrounding those things, but that is something that religion has sort of a monopoly on for a lot of people. They're not sure how to create that or how to make that within their own, non-religious community or, agnostic community or whatever, because that's where I think it really gets a hold on you, because these are very highly emotional milestones in people's lives. And so what you're saying is making room for better ways to support people. I think that is definitely something that people need, regardless of whether it's an atheist community or it's just, a community of people who want to help others when they're ill because they live in the same neighborhood. I think that's something that we kind of lack a little bit in more modern societies sometimes. And for some people, because they don't live in small communities or with extended family, that religion fills that for them. So I think finding ways to support these milestones in non-religious ways, whether that's atheist ways or just secular ways, having nothing to do with non-belief in a deity, would really help show people that there are options to this. For example, like secular celebrants or, things like that. I'm just throwing it out there.
Yeah, Rivka brings up a really good point, because rites of passage, which is what Rivka is referring to, rites of passage are very important for identity formation, especially within how someone formulates their identity within a cultural identity as well. That could be an ethnic group or that could be a religious group. So it's very important for our development. And that was a very, very pertinent point. Thank you, Rivka.
Piaget.
Psychology nerds, let's go. So
is that 6, identity and role formation?
I can't remember. I think he had 6. I'm most familiar with Erik Erikson. Anyways, so let's.
That's Erik Erikson. You're right. Number 6, identity and role formation.
Guys, we're losing people over time. All right, can we clap for the next news?
No.
Okay, next news.
Next news: Indian girls beheading prompts calls for honor killing laws in Uttar Pradesh, India.
Of course.
No offense.
No. Intended offense. Be offended if this is like what you're defending. If you're defending this kind of definitely offense.
This goes on so often in that area that we're like, oh, Uttar Pradesh, we knew it.
Yeah, it's always a safe bet. Oh, for people who don't know, for people outside of India, Uttar Pradesh is like the Aceh of India. People might not know even that. So Uttar Pradesh is the most religious Hindu state in India, just like Aceh in Indonesia.
Yeah. On Thursday, March 4th, a man walked from his village home en route to the local police station in northern India, carrying a severed head. A man named Sarvish Kumar carried the severed head of his 17-year-old daughter to the police station and admitted that he had decapitated her as they arrested him. The viral video on social media shows him carrying the head while he flashes the victory sign with his free hand. His voice is heard describing how he found his daughter at home alone, locked her in a room, and then beheaded her with a sharp object. This rekindled demands from human rights groups and women's campaigners for better laws to fight against the practice of so-called honor killings and improve police investigations while also protecting potential victims. Quote, "The issue of a woman's right to choose her own spouse needs immediate attention, and a separate law should be made for dealing with honor killing," said the vice president of the Uttar Pradesh chapter of All India Democratic Women Association, Mrs. Madhu Garg. So, yes, this
So
is
how much? Wait. So how could we? Can this be? How much of this can be blamed on? Like maybe some people are like, guys, you're just making this. This has nothing to do with religion. This is just one guy being crazy, or how could you even, like, you guys are just using this as a propaganda against your anti-religion rhetoric. What do you say?
It's well, especially like in a lot of cultures, it can be hard to delineate where honor culture ends and where religion begins. Oftentimes, there may have already just been an underlying honor culture, but then religion and scriptures are specifically taken to reinforce those values. So it's a relationship that has a bit of like a symbiosis to this. Oh, Katie is saying fake news. Hindus don't behead people. Yeah, because that's what people were screaming at us for.
Yeah, but people who don't speak internet lingo, that's the way when you type it like that, that means like you're being
sarcastic.
Yeah. Okay, so Goddess Katie has a point here. This is honor culture, okay? And honor culture is sometimes directly and sometimes indirectly comes from religion, okay? However, which religion is sometimes it's not easy to. So here's the thing: it's not. When you say religion has a role in this, you're not suggesting that religion was the only culprit here, right? Like there are many different factors as well. Socioeconomic factors, cultural factors, a person's mindset. That individual could have been, I don't know, mentally not. Again, we're not mental health professionals, so I'm not going to make a comment on that. But that might have an influence. But saying all those things have an influence and then saying religion didn't have an influence at all, that shows that you are biased. Like some people mention the roles, the effect all those other points have had, to dismiss the role religion has. But it's amazing how all of those factors could be a source of influence, like they mentioned that, and then but religion, then they come and say, like, they mention how multifactorial all these influences are, which we agree it's multifactorial. But then if it is, how could it be possible for the influence of religion to be zero? Like, that doesn't make any sense. Again, when it comes to India, even though it's mostly Hindu, sometimes some of this honor culture comes from Abrahamic religions. Sometimes it's from Hinduism itself. Hinduism itself does have scripture supporting honor and misogyny and stuff like that. But India has been under Islamic rule and also under British rule. So which religion has had more of an influence in this honor culture? It's not that easy of an answer, right? So, but yeah, Susanna, you want to say something?
Well, this is also allegedly because wait, where was the exact verbiage? So I can get this right. So he's heard saying that he is angered by his daughter's alleged affair with a man he did not like. then the BBC continues, hundreds of people are killed each year for falling in love or marrying against their family's wishes in India. He says that he recently found out about his daughter's relationship, and that made him very angry. And then he said to police, quote, "This is my daughter's head. I cut her off. I couldn't find anything else. I would have killed both of them. I saw her. I've done it with a sharp tool. Her body is lying in the room." He's saying this to the police. So it's obviously, so with honor culture, a lot of it just comes down to like possession of women. And that is very religious across many different religions. But Rivka, what are your thoughts on this?
I also think that honor culture has a lot to do with how a man is perceived by other men in terms of his prowess in controlling his property, or in, the status that comes from a son-in-law and the right one, because that's really, in a lot of these patriarchal religions, that's the only status that a woman achieves, is by marrying well or giving birth to sons. So all of her status is in relationship to men. So how he's perceived by other men in the community, even if it's definitely a religious element there, but there's also, again can be religious, particularly if in these religions there is no real status for women, and all the honor of the whole community rests with them, yet they don't really count as anything. Is this very strange paradox. It counts like as if you're embarrassed because your dog keeps running away and killing your neighbor's chickens. So then in order to placate the neighbor, you kill the dog.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just very, yeah.
Well, and you're right. A lot of it does also come from like preservation of virginity, preservation of chastity and purity. We know a lot of how that goes, like in traditional Hindu stories, how that's handled. Not well. And like I'm thinking a lot of collectivism, like you brought up. So Katie is also saying that there's a shame culture in India, quote, how the society will see our family if they come to know of this. Yeah, so it's a very collective mindset. Like,
I get
much so, which I think is part of, sort of harkens back to a little bit of what we were talking about. When you grow up in an extended family, there's these good things about it in terms of, or in a small community with a lot of, maybe religiosity or rules support, but there's also a lot of this shame or carrying the whole community on your back, or how you're perceived by them becomes very, very important.
All right, I'm going to say something. So so look at this, okay? This is how, from looking from outside, when you look at honor culture and you're looking for, guys, when you're not speaking, please mute. When you're trying to see what is I'm trying to come up with saying the logic or the justification, but the thinking that goes behind, because I know there's no logic and there's no justification, but the mentality that the person has when they do conduct honor killing, what leads them to get there. A lot of people, when the people who are not in that mindset, when they're trying to discuss it, they say it's about removing shame from your family, right? And then the comeback to that is like, how could you remove shame from your family when you just killed somebody, right? So, for example, Katie said, how the society will see your family if they come to know of this, right? But now then you think about this, like, okay, so now the daughter was like corrupted or something, but now they know you as a family who just beheaded their daughter or something like that, right? How could that, isn't there, wouldn't you're now known for that? Like, and you might think like this doesn't make sense, because as backward as this kind of mentality is, the vast majority of people in India are horrified to hear about a news like this, right? So what honor are you preserving, knowing that most people in India will see this title and they will be shocked by it? Like, so what shame are we talking about here? What kind of shame are you reducing, right? But the point about this is, like, it's not that this the way to look at it is not that they were making a calculated decision to preserve honor, right? The way you have to look at it is the disgust. So this whole honor culture, the mentality that you have that makes these people might commit an act like this, it's more of a emotional reaction to something they see as gross and disgusting, rather than a calculated decision to preserve honor, right? So you have to be grown in a mindset that this is so gross. So to see your daughter, to see your sister, to see your family member, this is so vile, so corrupt, so, I don't know. They would want, you know how sometimes you want to just like remove, I don't know, it just gets under their skin and they just want to remove it by any means necessary, right? So you have to understand the level of brainwashing, the influence of culture. And again, this is why I'm saying, like, scripture and religion, it's not like a lot of people like, oh, the Quran or the Hindu scripture or the Christian scripture, Muslims or Christian, they read it like, oh, I'm supposed to do this, and then they go do it. It doesn't work like that, right? It's not that simple. Like, oh, Muslims follow the Quran, Muslims follow the Hadith. It doesn't work like that. The scripture and the religion, it has an influence on culture. It has an influence of religious leaders. These cause certain narratives to become popular in society, and these certain narratives throughout years, over time, makes certain feelings towards certain attitudes and certain positions stronger. It's not the same as like Hindus following Hindu scripture, Muslims following Islamic scripture, and then it has this chain reaction, and it keeps building on itself until you get to a point where it's you're just responding to an urge in cleansing something rather than following the religion commandments of your religion or something like that. So I just want more people to understand that, yes, religion has a very destructive nature on society, but it's not as simple as a lot of atheists assume it is. Anyways,
wanted to talk about what you were saying previously about the shame that your daughter has done something that you find, reprehensible, versus the shame of being a person who committed, murder, who murdered your own family. Okay. Someone in your family. I think that goes back to what we were saying earlier about the lack of value of women, and it only relates to their value as it relates to men, so the shame of whatever you perceived her to have done is greater than the shame of being a family murderer. And so to me, that can be religion or culture that puts this woman so much lower than anything else. Not a person, not an animal, a woman, her own category of something that's not really a person. You see what I mean? Because there's she doesn't really have any value in and of herself. Her only value is how she relates to her husband, her father, her brother, her uncle, her, the son that she gives birth to, the mother of the son, so I think that's kind of, to some degree, where some of that question could be potentially answered.
All right, I need to highlight two comments and then we go away. Okay, where was this? Alex is saying, I don't see why it matters whether religion plays a part in honor killing. What is the motive of defending religion as such? Does anyone understand religion the same way? It matters a lot what their sources are. any form of solutions that is ever suggested has to be with a lot of analysis, detailed analysis of all the factors that make something a problem. If you don't understand the source of a problem, you're going to be extremely weak at addressing it. It definitely matters what every single factor is. Whenever there's a harm in society, you have to understand it fully in order to be able to tackle it. This is interesting. Hindus have caste system. Indian caste system has nothing to do with Hindu scriptures. This is absolutely wrong. This is so wrong. This is like unbelievably wrong. Is the Hindu
Were you
scripture
born yesterday?
Guys, this is actually legit proof to show you that if somebody's from India and has an Indian flag as their profile and they have an Indian name, that doesn't mean they understand what they're just. Even if they're from India, that doesn't mean. This is so wrong. Like, the Indian scripture has so many references to caste system. This could not be more wrong, right? So this is why you need to learn from this comment that you shouldn't just be like, oh, I'm from India, so I know what I'm talking about. Don't buy that, okay? People could be from their country. Like, somebody could come say, I'm from Iran, so let me tell you about Iranian politics. Don't trust people just because they're from the place that they're talking about, okay? Yeah, Rivka?
Just want to say one more thing. So you were talking about why does it matter about religion? Yes, it matters. Just that Ali Rivzi quote came to mind where he says, if you want to fight patriarchy, and you're not fighting religion, then you're not fighting, So in that quote, he's talking about some of the sources of whatever it is that you're trying to, you have to know where the source comes from. And a lot of it is religion, especially when you're talking about this kind of, process that would lead somebody to do something like this.
Let's try to get through the next couple of news a little bit faster because
Yes.
I have a hard stop. Okay. Can we clap for the next news?
Yes.
Next news.
Pakistani court grants bail to Christian in blasphemy case. Nabil Masih, a 16-year-old Christian, was accused in 2016 of committing blasphemy in a Facebook post, a post defaming and disrespecting the Kaaba in Mecca. Accusers claim they discovered a picture on Masih's timeline depicting a pig on top of the Kaaba. Masih was convicted in 2018 and was given a 10-year prison sentence. That sentence made the then 18-year-old Masih the youngest person ever convicted of blasphemy in Pakistan, after previously serving 2 years without proper evidence. On March 1st, 2021, a Pakistani court finally awarded bail to Nabil Masih. Masih's attorney, Nasib Anjum, reminded the High Court that his client had been languishing in jail for more than 4 years without any court progress. Anjum declared that he will quickly complete the necessary paperwork and free the now 20-year-old Masih. Well, except, he'd be released from incarceration. He's definitely not free. There's a big difference when you're granted bail. But yeah, the story behind this is crazy. So just as the disclaimer, I read multiple things. Some say that the blasphemous content was on Facebook. Some say it was on WhatsApp. So it's not actually completely clear to me, like, where this post was originally made. Sometimes when it kind of sounded like they were referring to WhatsApp as a Facebook platform. So it was originally posted in one of those two places. But what's crazy about this is after the people who accused him filed this case against him at the police station, Nabil was arrested by the police and charged with blasphemy. But then, so he was charged with injuring or defiling a place of worship, or insulting religion. And here's what's crazy about this. The officers stated that they removed the alleged blasphemous images from Facebook to prevent further violence. But by removing the post in question, the charges are now most difficult to prove whether Masih was guilty or innocent. Whether Masih actually posted the image himself or if he was merely tagged in the photo remains unknown. So the police destroyed the evidence to convict him, and he's just been languishing in jail ever since.
The police destroyed their own evidence. This is the one time that the police incompetence is actually a good thing to celebrate, right? No. Well, because they don't have evidence against his blasphemy.
But they're just keeping him in jail anyways. We don't even know. But
wouldn't
that's
it be
also the
more
evidence that would free him.
Oh, wait, okay. So yay if the evidence would have been damned him more, and boo if it would have freed him. I don't know which side would the evidence go.
Because like this thing.
Wait,
like,
what could have police like? They didn't even take a screenshot before they deleted it for their own. Like, I mean, every time I delete a post, I take a screenshot of it, and I don't even know why I do that. I just take it just in case. And I don't know if it's gonna come in handy or not.
I don't know. They don't have the evidence to convict him, and he's just been stuck in jail. So.
Amazing wow, amazing work, police. So they don't have evidence to convict him, and he's still still sat in prison for how many years?
He's been in prison incarcerated for 4 years now.
4 years. They're like, we have no evidence. Somebody accused you of blasphemy. Just sit here for 4 years. God damn it.
He may not have even posted it himself. Maybe someone just tagged him in it. We don't even know.
Oh my God. Honestly, when India, just come and take over Pakistan. Just come
This is the second week in a row you've said this.
You know what? As bad as India is far superior to Pakistan. Just come and take your baby sister country. Tell her to it's okay. You experimented with Islam. It's time to cut it out. Just stop. Just stop.
Are you calling Pakistan are you calling them a failed state?
I'm calling Pakistan India's little baby sister who turned Muslim, and now India needs to come back and just be like, come back home. Just be like, stop it. Just stop. Just stop it. Oh my God.
It's a mess. And it's really tragic. So like I said, he was the youngest person ever convicted of blasphemy in Pakistan. And the British Asian Christian Association, or Burqa, began supporting Masih's legal fight to gain his release. A trustee from Burqa, Juliet Chowdhury, stated that although she is happy that Masih is free on bail, she argues that Masih was only 16 years old when arrested and has lost many of his most important years of development. Which is true. Juliet Chowdhury advises that Masih deserves compensation for being falsely convicted to help him rebuild his life, and the organization plans to help him persevere. So here's where some of the confusion comes in. Quote, the forensic report proved that the alleged blasphemous post in a WhatsApp group had not been generated by Masih, who was a juvenile at the time, said attorney Nasib Anjum, adding that the police failed to fulfill the legal requirements necessary for registering the first information report, or FIR, regarding the charges of blasphemy in the first place. Quote, the police apparently registered the FIR against Masih on the pressure of clerics and the people of Kasur City, said Anjum, the defense lawyer. According to him, the accuser repeatedly delayed proceedings under pretenses while the prosecution presented zero evidence in the case so far. So it is likely that this was a false blasphemy allegation or accusation. I don't know that, but I mean, it's fairly widespread in Pakistan and often motivated by religious hatred towards minorities, particularly Christians, Hindus, and Sikhs, or just personal vendettas. However, now the question remains, what's going to happen to him when he is out of incarceration? You know, he's not free from charges. Let me be clear again, but it's very possible that he was actually safer in police custody.
You know, as bad as Pakistan is and has been for the past couple of years, it just seems like, I don't know, like, I know we're going based on stories and anecdotes, so this is just a hypothesis, not a theory, but it's getting so much worse, isn't it? Like, it seems like every year, they're like, Pakistan this year is telling Pakistan last year to hold its beer. like, like every
Not beer,
year.
something non-alcoholic.
Oh yeah, non-alcoholic beer. They have that. It's just like every year when we see like, oh my god, what the hell is happening in Pakistan? Next year we're like, can we go back to Pakistan last year? Because this is getting even more insane. Like, how far can they take this? Like, is this like a dare or like Pakistan? Like, you think we surprised you that
I mean, to be fair, this is a positive development that happened this year. This originally happened in 2016.
Yeah, no, yeah. I'm referring to the number of blasphemy cases that.
Oh, that has accelerated. Like
that has accelerated. Yeah, I mean, this happened a couple of years ago, but what you're seeing right now is happening at a much higher rate every year. Like people are just getting like it's kind of like an opera scene. Like, you're accused of blasphemy. You're accused of everybody is accused
You're a
of
blasphemer.
blasphemy.
You're a blasphemer.
Like at first it was like the Sunnis and Shias like, let's call all the Ahmadis blasphemers. And then the Sunnis was like, how about it's your turn, Shias? All the Shias are blasphemers.
Yeah, tens of thousands of people in the street, Shia, Kafir, Shia. They're like, oh shoot.
Wow.
We
again, guys, we don't not all. Okay, by the way, guys, don't ever think that this is a good way. It gives you an excuse to say the Shias deserve it, because the Shias' collective punishment is insane. When you see the people, like every time you see a high number of Shias or Sunnis coming out, just remember, even though the numbers look big, that's a small percentage of the total population, right? So you can't just like wish revenge on every single Shia in Pakistan or something like that, right? But no, I mean, Pakistan's blasphemy, like, I mean, there's no worse country. I don't think there is any worse country when it comes to blasphemy, right? Like Iran and Saudi Arabia are like not even close to that.
I would have to refresh my memory of the Yusuf blasphemy report, but it is
okay. Let's be clear. Let me be clear though. When it comes to blasphemy cases, India is number one, right? But when it comes to, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but when it comes to executions by the government for blasphemy, India hasn't even done that once. Every time somebody died for blasphemy in Pakistan, sorry, I said India, Pakistan hasn't even done that once. They've been accused, they have been on death row, but the government, even though so many people have been on death row for blasphemy in Pakistan, not a single one of them have been executed by the government yet. So far, every single person that has died for blasphemy in Pakistan has been because of mob justice rather than the government, right? So the numbers of blasphemy cases are high. A lot of people are in prison and stay in prison for a very long time for blasphemy for a long time. They get sentenced to death, but they don't get executed, even though they get sentenced to death. However, like a country like Iran or Saudi Arabia has much lower number of blasphemy cases, but they actually execute the people. Like the government actually, like, yeah, we actually when we put people on death sentence here, we're not kidding around. Like you're gonna
follow through.
We're gonna well, sometimes they're.
Oh wow! So Pakistan is definitely number one. Okay,
Yeah.
so I'm looking at the 2020 blasphemy report from Yusuf. Well, this is for total number of incidents of mob activity, mob violence, and or threats of mob violence, and state enforced criminal blasphemy cases by country from 2014 to 2018. Pakistan comes in at 212. Just to give you guys some perspective, the next highest country that comes in second place is Iran with 96.
Wow, that's a huge margin. Amazing.
Yeah.
All right, so we need to move on to the Rivka is having connections issues, so we'll see if she's back now.
Oh, and well, I can't show you, but there's a histogram where it shows the actual reported cases of state enforced blasphemy cases, which is just it's around 175, and then So they have the exponentially the highest there. And then on this histogram, there's another bar for mob violence, and it's around 25. But again, that is exponential. Well, maybe not exponentially, but the largest in comparison to everything else in this graph. So yeah, it's just a fact that Pakistan is the worst for blasphemy cases.
Okay, Rivka, you want to say something? Unmute yourself first. Oh,
Sorry. There
you
goes.
go.
Sorry. This computer's acting weird. I
It's
wanted
okay.
to just talk about what you were saying about being the worst, and then people not being executed by the government, but being, killed by extrajudicial violence. That's what's so dangerous about these laws. And it kind of goes back to this guy who they may or may not have evidence. Maybe they lost it, but no one's not necessarily even interested in finding that out. It's as if none of that matters. You could accuse anyone at any time, and it's almost as if the accusation itself is what makes it true. And therefore, the mob feels comfortable killing these people. So evidence isn't necessarily even part of the equation. Just the accusation itself. Anyone for any reason can decide, oh, you're not wearing your hijab properly, or you laughed when I said Allah. You made fun of him, or this picture someone tagged you in that you had no knowledge of. It doesn't matter. None of that matters. What matters is the accusation itself. Then it becomes true in a lot of people's eyes.
Yeah, there was one case, I think, if I remember correctly, where somebody threw away some paper, and the person found out that the paper that they threw away had Muhammad written on one of the pages, and that was like enough to get you accused of a blasphemy. You could also just accuse people of blasphemy without any evidence if you just don't like them, and see where that goes. Like, that's how dangerous it is. You could you could owe money somebody could you could owe them money and you don't want to pay them back. You're like, blasphemy! Like, hey, the police came and took away my problems. That's amazing.
Exactly. And there's some evidence to show that, for example, in like Salem witch trials and other cases like this, or all of the witch burnings, a lot of them in Europe, some of them were simply, coveting property disputes over, payments. I don't like this person's different. All of those things were the actual motivators for the blasphemy, to say that this person had committed blasphemy, and then, they're out of your life.
Yeah. Can we clap for the next news? Yes. Yeah. Next news.
Samuel Paty, French girl admits to lying about murdered teacher. In October 2020, Samuel Paty was beheaded after showing pupils depictions of the Prophet Muhammad. The girl, whose objections sparked an online campaign against Paty, has since admitted that she lied. The 13-year-old girl originally told her father that Paty had asked Muslim students to leave the classroom while she showed the cartoon. Well, he showed the cartoon, and that when she complained, she was suspended. The girl's father started a social media campaign over the incident, in which he identified Paty and the school. It was then revealed that the campaign against the teacher had been based on a distorted account. Now it appears that the girl was suspended the day before the class was given. The girl explains in her leaked testimony that she made up the story to not disappoint her father. Prosecutors have said that there is a direct causal link between the online incident against Paty and his murder. So I thought this was interesting because a few months ago we talked about how there were 3 or 4 children who were facing charges for this murder.
How old is this girl?
She's 13.
Okay, I don't think anybody deserves punishment for this. I mean, not severe punishment, at least, right? Not for being accessory to murder or anything like that, right? Okay, so the kid I know a lot of people like, oh, Muslim woman did something. This is a 13-year-old girl, okay? 13-year-old girls lie all the time. I mean, why wouldn't not why wouldn't, like, why would you hold children to a higher standard? Like, this is like, what kind of punishment we're looking here? Okay, like, you lied to your dad and now the government is involved. Like, yeah, I mean, I know the murderer, he was killed. If he wouldn't, he should get all the punishment. Now this dad that started this campaign against Samuel Paty, okay, if his punishment is becoming a lot too harsh because of what happened, even though there's no way, if there is no way for us to be able to show that he could have known that this would have been the outcome, like, are we reasonably suggesting that this man should be punished because he started a campaign against his teacher and that led to something that he could have never anticipated it would have happened? Like, maybe I'm not reading this correctly. What do you?
Well,
I don't know what the
shouldn't-
evidence shows that whether it's incitement or not.
Yeah,
I shouldn't have brought up the charges because the charges are actually not a part of the story at all.
So what's the story then? As a 13-year-old girl lied, are we like, yeah, and water is wet? Like, teenagers lie, teenage boys lie, teenage girls lies, teenagers lie.
Yeah,
What
but it's
is-
not
what-
every day that your lies result in someone being.
I know, but I'm just saying. No, I'm not saying this shouldn't be a story. I'm just saying that, are people expecting revenge on a schoolgirl?
No, this is just more evidence in the case and what led up to the case. So,
I wasn't
so-
saying all teenagers lie. God damn it! I didn't say every single what teenager lies. I'm just saying that it's a common thing. But go on.
So here's the thing. So, quote, she lied because she felt trapped in a spiral because her classmates had asked her to be a spokesperson, said her lawyer. So the girl's father filed a legal complaint against the teacher and began a social media campaign over the incident based on his daughter's account. In this, he specifically identified Paty and the school, which I can't say because it's French. Again, the prosecutors are saying that there is a direct causal link between the online incitement against Paty and his murder. It then emerged that this campaign had been based on lies. So he had done similar lessons before. And so she claimed that she faced punitive action because she did not want to be exposed to depictions of the prophet, and that she was suspended because of that. Well, it's now been revealed according to a local newspaper, that she was suspended because of repeated absence from school. So it's not because of that. So he's since posted 2 social media videos in response to, the father has posted 2 videos in response to the allegations. Speaking on the French radio on Tuesday, the Paty's family lawyer said the girl's family knew that she had not been in class on the day in question and why she was suspended. So they knew she wasn't there. They knew why she was suspended. So, quote, so to come and say now, sorry, I believe my daughter's lies is very weak, according to Paty's his family's lawyers.
Okay, wait. When they say there's a direct causal link, to me it suggests that they're trying to blame these people for the murder. And I mean, you could blame them for other things. You could blame a teenage girl for lying. You could blame a father for believing his daughter. That'd be weird. You could say that the people, the father and the other Muslim community that were trying to do a protest. What were they trying to do? They were trying to bring attention against this teacher for teaching their kids something that they didn't like, right? I mean, to me, that seems like they should be able to do that as long as they're not harassing the teacher, right? If there is proof that they were trying to harass the teacher, then they should be punished simply and only for trying to harass the teacher. But the fact that this led to a murder should not change how harsh the punishment is going to be. There are many things that the thing, when they say this had a direct causal link to the murder, if it wasn't intentional, or if it wasn't illegal, even so, there's different ways that this could escalate, right? Whether it was intentional, which doesn't seem like it was intentional, or whether it was unintentional but through an illegal act caused someone's death unintentionally, that you could also make it escalated quickly as well. But this doesn't seem to be any of them. Just because it caused that, you can't hold these people responsible for someone's murder when they weren't intending for that outcome. Rivka.
Actually, you can. The law doesn't make the distinction about what your intention was. The law makes the distinction on the outcome often.
You didn't listen.
So
this is
if they were doing this, not necessarily intending to cause a murder, but the rhetoric, I'm not taking their side or against their side, but the rhetoric became so heated that it became then incitement to violence.
Okay, Rivka, you listen. This is not what I said. I said two different situations, either intentional or if it's not intentional but through an illegal act, right? So these are the difference between. Again, I'm not a legal expert, but you could go look at these up if you want. I think these are the difference between first-degree murder, second-degree murder, and third-degree murder. So I didn't say only if it was intentional. I also gave the options for other methods.
I understand that, but it doesn't matter whether what they were doing was legal. What matters is the outcome according to what they're saying, the causal link. And I think that would be, and I don't know French law, so I can't say for sure, but that in and of itself is the incitement. Not that you intended to do it or that you did it illegally or legally, but the outcome of the taking the match near the piece of paper then sets the paper on fire, regardless of whether you intended to or it was.
You're repeating what you already said. So let me go to something to say how that cannot be the standard. That's impossible for that to be the standard, because if that is the standard, then Samuel Paty himself is also guilty, because him showing the cartoons, if this is the standard, then there is a direct causal link between Samuel Paty showing the cartoon and his murder. Are we now going to blame Samuel Paty for his own murder? Because there's a direct causal link. Just because you can show a direct causal link between an action and the outcome, a bad outcome, that doesn't mean the people are responsible for the cause that they're guilty, okay? If they did do incitement to violence, okay, then I'm okay with like, oh yeah, punish them. They did incitement to violence, right? If you're like, oh, here we have proof they did incitement to violence. Okay, great. There's a law. No, not great, but it's clear now. We have laws against incitement to violence. Punish them. But just saying there was a direct causal relationship is not enough to consider somebody guilty of being responsible for murder. Susanna.
If they think there's a causal relationship, it's because they have evidence to prove the causal relationship.
Okay, Rivka, I don't think you're understanding what I'm saying. We also have evidence that Samuel Paty's showing up the causal relation. I didn't say they don't have evidence. I didn't say they don't have evidence that there is a direct causal relationship. I'm saying a direct causal relationship is not enough. Susanna.
I think we're missing the important point that he was murdered over a lie.
Like, we're not missing that point at all.
No, I mean, we haven't talked about that. Like
the lie of the 13-year-old girl, right?
Yeah, he's still murdered over nothing.
Oh my God. I mean, I don't think anybody is disputing that Samuel Paty murder was not justified. I mean, I don't think that's the contention here.
No, I wasn't saying that anyone here was arguing that.
Okay, let me say something else. The fact that they did this, that they took action over a lie, makes them even look less culpable, like they were even acting based on wrong information. I don't know, man. I think
it is possible that they knew that it wasn't true.
That's where I'm going.
Very likely. That's what I'm highlighting. It is likely that they knew that it wasn't true.
Which then becomes the exact thing about incitement. So this is in the 1919 test. This is United States Supreme Court, but Oliver Wendell Holmes talks about the idea of clear and present danger. So the question is whether the words used are used in circumstance and are of such a nature as to create a clear and present danger that they will bring about what he calls substantive evils. And then he cites the falsely shouting fire in a crowded theater, which most people misunderstand, saying you can't do certain things. It's not that you can't shout fire. You have to know there's no fire.
Okay, so
that is the substance of what they're saying is the causal relationship.
So again, the direct causal relationship is not enough. Goes back to my point. The fact that if they were knowingly spreading a lie, I don't know if we have proof. If we do, then we do. That they knew that she was lying and still they went with it. Then that's not the same as like, oh, we have proof that there's a direct causal relationship. Because in that situation, the direct causal relationship to the murder is not what you need to prove their guilt. What you need to prove their guilt is to prove that they knew there was something was a lie and they were still spreading it. That's what you need to prove. Susanna.
Well, okay, this language of direct causal link, let me remind you guys, is coming from the prosecutor. Okay, this is literally their prerogative. Okay, so it is their burden of evidence that they have to prove that direct causal link. I'm sure more will come forward in the court case.
And actually, manslaughter is a charge that you can be charged with, whether you did something that ended in someone's death, regardless of your intention, whether it was legal or not, whether you.
I think we already mentioned that a couple of times, though.
No, but I'm trying to say, you keep saying it's not enough. It is enough sometimes to have done an act that ended in the death of someone else, whether intentionally or unintentionally.
Okay, Rivka, I know you mentioned the same thing like 4 times now, but you said sometimes. That's my point. Sometimes it cannot be enough to just say there's a direct causal relationship, because there are many things that are, again, Samuel Paty himself there would be guilty if that was the only standard, which would be ridiculous, right? Anyways, we might disagree on this, but maybe people in the live chat could be like, most people seem to agree with Rivka on this. Anyway.
Well, I wish I spoke French, because then that footage is out there. What he said about Paty, this campaign, is out there. So a lot of this comes down to, we don't have the exact information to know for ourselves how much of this meets the criteria of incitement.
That's why
a lot of the evidence is sealed too.
That's why I keep using the words, if this is what you need, this would not be enough. A direct causal relationship would be not enough. They would be guilty if they could show that they were doing incitement to violence. They would be guilty if they could show that they were knowingly spreading a lie. These would be added to the direct causal argument for them to be guilty. But just saying that, oh, it directly, cause of, well, I don't know, maybe did the murderer show up in an Uber? Then the Uber driver is guilty as well, because if there's a direct causal relationship there as well.
I think you're misunderstanding direct causal relationship. It's one variable causes a change in another, and there's no intervening ones, so to speak.
That's exactly what I'm saying. So Samuel Paty drawing the cartoon would be the same thing. I'm just saying that is a key factor. It's not enough. There needs to be other factors as well. Anyways, I think we have spent enough time on this one. Okay. All right. Can we clap for the next news?
Yeah.
By the way, Rivka, I know. I hope you're okay. Like, you don't feel like I'm being aggressive on you. You're good.
No, I just really don't think you understand the point I'm making, or that you understand that point of law. But that's something we can not necessarily argue for an hour on.
Or maybe I understand you and misrepresenting you on purpose. Maybe I'm spinning a lie. No.
It's part of your anti-Semitism.
Hey, it's my culture. I'm Iranian.
Yeah.
And not arguing a point. And being a lawyer is part of my culture.
Oh, by the way, I forgot to say thank you so much for Selva and Bish also to be members today, and also I say Alex, sorry to Alex for misunderstanding something. Okay, cool. Next, wait, can we clap?
Yeah.
Next news.
Pope Francis meets Iraq's top Ayatollah as both urge peace. On March 5th, Pope Francis embarked on a historic 4-day trip to Iraq to meet with top Shiite cleric Grand Ayatollah Ali al-Sistani, other religious officials, and laymen of local religious minorities. The meeting was a meaningful milestone in the global history of interfaith dialogue and Iraqi history. He visited Najaf, Erbil, and Mosul, where he prayed at the ruins of 4 churches destroyed by ISIS. It was the first nation he visited after the coronavirus pandemic outbreak. Despite the spate of rocket attacks and deadly bombing in Baghdad in the preceding weeks, he proceeded with his plan. The Pope's visit to Iraq offers moral support to Iraq's persecuted and dwindling Christian community. Hopefully, it will encourage the Iraqi leadership to put more effort into protecting the many minorities the country is home to. So I thought this was an incredibly interesting event that occurred.
We have
He
an
went to
Artemis.
Ur too, where Abraham was born.
Yes, and
Allegedly.
he went to that the building where he was supposed to be. That was remodeled by Saddam Hussein, I think. But yeah, he went there too, and he went to the exact spot where ISIS declared that they were going to behead him. Which, I don't like the Pope, but that's pretty badass. To be like, oh, you're gonna behead me? Well, I'm here.
Yeah, this okay, you guys.
I
I
And
don't.
not only did I go there, I
made it
built a
through.
house there. Yeah.
This is pretty badass from the Pope, because as
Yeah.
much as we speak against the Pope here, and rightfully so, this is pretty brave, right? You might be like, well, he has security and stuff. I mean, yeah, but this is like, I don't know, this is still pretty intense place to be. Like, I saw him like walking in the streets with the security, and there are a lot of exposed windows. It was, I mean, for him to just go there, like, it was very much advised. Like, oh wait, it's brave and also stupid, by the way.
Yeah.
Let me actually turn that back, because I saw all the celebrations around this whole him showing up there, and I was thinking, where's the social distancing? Like, people were kept on saying like, oh my god, he's so brave because he could catch COVID, but he's still going and all. And he was like, people are like, no, he's going to be good. He's going to be tested, and all, he's not going to get sick. I was like,
What about everyone
why is
else?
everybody talking about him? What about everyone else? There was like, people were dancing, the celebrations, everybody was next to each other. Like, guys, like, this is the time that you want to do this? Like, are you serious? Okay, so anyway, so every single video I've seen of this whole him visiting Iraq, I was like, every single time I was like, that's not social distancing. But
The mask wearing was a
yes.
hit and a miss.
Oh yeah, no, and everybody was close. It's so bad. Anyways, here's a question for the two of you, and actually for the live chat, okay? And then you guys raise your hand if you know the answer, okay? I want to see, because somebody also asked us here, look, I would like Atheist Republic to analyze this event, okay? I'll analyze this event. Susie, come back. I need your answer on this. Right when I'm asking the question, Susie just leaves. Oh yeah, you're back. Okay. Who is being subtweeted here? Do anyone knows the answer to this?
Ahol Suna.
Nope. Don't answer. Raise your hand. Who is being subtweeted here? Anybody knows what this? Who is being subtweeted? Oh wait,
Rivka, go for it.
Oh, Rivka.
It's Ayatollah al-Sistani or Khamenei. Either one.
Khamenei.
It's
This
Khamenei.
is-
Yeah, it's Khamenei.
Yes.
That's
Guys.
his tweet.
No, this is he's being do you guys know what
Subtweeted, I mean. That's what I
subtweeted?
meant.
Yes. Okay, so guys, this is a major blow against Ayatollah Khamenei in Tehran. So if you guys don't know, Ayatollah Sistani is the second most
Mm-hmm.
influential Shia leader in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, in direct competition with Ali Khamenei, Ayatollah Khamenei in Tehran. Okay, him. A lot of people don't know him because Khamenei gets a lot of the attention, and for people have to understand, both Khomeini and Khamenei see themselves not as the leader of the Shia world,
Mm-hmm.
but the leader of the Islamic world. Like
Mhm.
they are wannabe popes.
Mm-hmm.
Wannabe as popes of Islam, okay? And again, a lot of Shias will outside of Iran will die for him. A lot of Shias outside of Iran will be like, no, we don't want to have anything to do with. Like for us to suggest Khamenei is the leader of Shias, a lot of Shias outside of Iran will get butthurt over that, right? They get triggered, right? Especially people who follow Sistani. What is the major? Yeah. So what? Yeah, Shirazi Imams especially. What is the major difference between Sistani and Khamenei? And again,
Oh,
I know.
Okay, I know this one.
We get to Susanna, but I know a lot of people are going to claim, like, show me like the times that they agreed with each other and worked with each other. Blah 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 blah. They're still major competitors for influence. And what is the major difference, Susanna?
Well, I'm not going to be able to pronounce this right, but their stance on the Walayat al-Faqih, or guardianship of the jurist.
Okay, yes.
And how much that should be implemented into the government.
Well, let me actually, yeah, that's very true, but let me simplify that. What Sistani is for, no, Khamenei is for religion in government, the mullahs ruling. Sistani is against it, right? So Sistani is against using Shia Islam in government. Sistani is for separating government from religion. So guess who else agrees with that philosophy?
Sadiq al-Shirazi.
No. The Pope.
Pope Francis.
Pope Francis, the Vatican.
I'm stuck with
that's the Vatican's official position as well. And that's the whole point of the Pope meeting with Sistani. It's about emboldening and highlighting this version of Shia Islam. And you guys don't understand, like, Sistani, when it comes to influence and following, Sistani is nothing compared to the Pope, okay? This is the Pope raising Sistani up, okay? Like, even for non-Christian, the Pope is understood as a celebrity, as a major religious figure with a huge following, right?
He's the leader of a billion people.
Yes, and Sistani is like, doesn't have like Khamenei maybe has a major influence, but Sistani has. This is basically, imagine this as like your YouTube content creators, right? And you are a major YouTuber, and then there's somebody that you don't like that is a little bit below you. Like, let's say you have 2 million subscribers, right, as a YouTuber, and that's the Pope. And then you have another YouTuber who you don't like that has 100,000 subscribers. That would be like Khamenei, okay? And then because you don't like that in the influence of that ideology, you find a YouTuber with 20,000 subscribers that is competing against that 100,000 subscribers, and you invite this YouTuber with 20,000 subscribers on your channel with 2 million subscribers, and you like celebrate him and meet with him and giving him a platform and highlight him, okay? So this is a direct diss at the philosophy and the ideology in Tehran, which is Khamenei. So this is our analysis. And because of the significance of all of this event, okay, we have art that is not finished yet, okay? So I'm going to show you the draft. Is it okay if I show? Do you guys want to? Maybe you guys should comment before I show the art, the blasphemous art we have with this. Any commentary?
I don't really have any more commentary.
Okay,
I just wanted to say there's several articles out in like Radio Free Europe on the internet, and then the Radio Free Farda, I think, which is the Iranian
Radio Farda.
version. Yeah, about exactly what you're talking about, Armin. Like, why did they not shake hands? What's the difference? Who's running who's really in charge, kind of. Yeah, so I just happened to notice that there were several articles specific to that
there
point.
was a lot of pomp and circumstance to it. So they did different events. They all had their own significance. It was supposed to be both like practical and symbolic, blah, blah, blah. I didn't really get into that because I thought just the fact that this was happening in general was more interesting. But yeah, I mean, I don't really, care too much about what their like make believe charade is, but
right.
show
Anyways,
us the art.
we
Safe
safe for work version of the art. Yes. There we go. Okay, so this is not the final version. Okay, this is not the final version. Our artist is still working on it. It's almost close to done, but we're gonna have in Spanish, right? Because Pope Francis is Argentinian. We're going to write Papa Francis here. And in Arabic, we're going to write Ayatollah Sistani here in Arabic calligraphy. And yes, I know they don't look like this in real life, but who wants to look at the way they actually look? We aim to please.
Yeah.
So we basically took some
creative license.
I wish they could be in the Pope Mobile, though.
Oh, that'd be
no,
because how it's glass, and they're like, he's got him pushed up against the back of the Pope Mobile.
Rivka, I like how you think. Yeah, this is hilarious. It's Papa Francisco. Yeah, it's just glorious. But their faces are actually going to look like them. Which I think is just funny, like these like hunky bodies and then like old man faces.
Yeah, we have the best artists, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah. So cool.
If you guys want to see the not safe for work version of this, and trust me, there is a lot going on underneath that loincloth. On Patreon.
Yeah, you can actually find the links to all the not safe for work blasphemous art without the covering. At blasphemousart.com. Anyways,
the Pope gonna wear his Pope hat?
I think so, isn't? Oh
no, you mean
no. Wait,
I know the name of it.
Well, no, because I think we were going with what he was wearing during the meeting. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, his little skull cap. Well, you could have the hat and like the vestments just like laying all over the ground, like you tore them off.
No, you're right. Actually, the Pope hat would be nice. Is it too late, Susie? I don't know. We'll
probably.
See
There's not a lot of room at the top of the page. It fills the space nicely.
It's okay. We could. I don't know. That one. I don't know. We'll ask artists if it's too much to add. Anyways, no. Okay. Cool. All right. Hold on. Let me actually get the next news ready.
And we can clap.
We can.
Yes.
Okay. All right, next news.
First transgender newscaster in Bangladesh. On the anniversary of Bangladesh's 50th year of independence, Bush Kahi TV appointed the first ever transgender newscaster in Bangladesh. Tash Nuva Anand Shishir, a model and actor, will start her journey as a news presenter from March 8th, coinciding with International Women's Day. By now, she's started. A dancer, model, and voice artist, Tashnuva's precedence as the first ever transgender news presenter will inspire thousands of transgender women in Bangladesh. Tashnuva said, "I want to build a team from the transgender community to raise awareness about the obstacles we face. I want to help these individuals build sustainable livelihoods. We need to prioritize people's capabilities over their gender identities." So yay! Congratulations to...
That last sentence I really liked, where she was talking about like capability over identity. because for me, that's really important, because just a lot of these identities that people tout so much, they're exogenous characteristics, or just something that you just are, that you had no role in, versus what you actually can do, what you're capable of, the things you've done, the achievements you've made, the people you've helped, all of those things, I think, are more important than your identity, regardless of whether it's gender identity or racial or tribal or political or.
All right. So, like Rivka said, I really like what she's saying here. We need to prioritize people's capabilities over their gender identities. This seems to me a bit different. Again, I am still open-minded to be proven otherwise, but to me it seems like whether this is the best method or other ways are the best methods. But to me, she seems to be on my side in agreeing that you want equal opportunity, not equal outcome. Like she's not. This is different from what other people are prescribing, is to like hire somebody
because of
because
their identity.
of their identity. Like she's not saying hire me because I'm transgender. She's not saying, she's saying hire me because I'm capable, right? Like she's trying to remove discrimination against transgender people. She wants being transgender not to be part of the hiring of calculation, right? So she is hired. She's saying I'm hired because I know what I'm doing. I am good at what I do. That's what I'm hired. I haven't been hired because people were doing me a favor because I'm transgender, right? And she wants to remove barriers rather than, I don't know. Again, I understand that the argument from the other side is like, oh no, we need to go beyond removing barriers. We need to actively hire people because they're transgender to adjust the discrimination that already exists that you can't get rid of. Okay, so I could see, maybe, I don't know, like maybe there's some points to that, and I'm open to uh, you know accepting it if that's true, right? But right now this person doesn't seem to be, what's her name again?
Tashnuba.
Tashnuba doesn't seem to be suggesting it. Tashnuba is like, I just want to remove discrimination. I don't want to introduce positive discrimination and replace negative discrimination. It should be equal opportunity based on merit, without discrimination against transgender people.
Yeah, she doesn't want it to matter.
She doesn't want it to matter.
I can
Well,
understand.
Exactly.
And it's actually interesting because she said that in the context of the group that she is, the activism that she's doing to help other transgender people, earn a livelihood, go to school, all these things. So basically to make their lives about more than just being transgender.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I mean, congratulations to her. Is she getting any hate or backlash from
Mazel tov.
Mazel tov, yeah.
I can imagine. Yeah. I mean, in other interviews, she talked about transphobia and insults that she's experienced in the past.
Yeah, no, but like, are people like protesting, campaigning, and saying this is like horrible? That
Not that I'm aware of. I mean, there is a language barrier, so that might be going on, and it's not come to my attention because I don't know.
Is it widely known throughout the country that
yeah,
it's a very real possibility that a lot of people watching the news have no idea that this person is transgender.
This is, and also AJ saying in Bangladesh. Wow, awesome.
Yeah, it is awesome.
Yeah, this is pretty okay. Here's maybe we don't know. Is Bangladesh one of those countries where discrimination against being gay is more than being transgender? I don't know. Like, so we need to be. I'm not educated on this because I know, like in Iran, for example, it's more difficult to be gay than transgender. So because Bangladesh is the same country where atheist bloggers have been hacked to death. So the fact
Shubo is saying nothing serious, but people did mock it.
Okay, so it's very interesting because we have a lot of us have a Western perspective, and we think like just because the right-leaning people in the West, they are more butthurt over transgender people, and then after that gay people, and then after that Muslims and atheists. So we think that the priority of what to get butthurt over is the same in other countries as well, right? So when we see atheists getting hacked to death in Bangladesh, we might think like, okay, well then transgender people must have it a lot worse. But maybe the priority of who gets the most attacks in different countries, like for example in Iran, for example in the United States, transgender people are now more discriminated against than gay people. Not that gay people have it easy, but it's worse for transgender people. But that's not the same in everywhere else. Like in Iran again, it's easier to be transgender than gay. Again, not that transgender people have it easy in Iran, okay? There's a lot of stigma still from society, okay? But it's not necessarily the same way. Oh, Katie's saying something?
Katie's saying, I haven't seen any Bengali news about protests against her. I might have missed it, though, because I don't usually follow news in Bengali language. And Shruva was saying, no, both gays and transgender people are equally oppressed.
Okay, what about relative to...
Meaning that they are considered borderline untouchable, and he's seen it himself.
Okay,
so this is definitely progress.
This is a breakthrough. Okay, amazing. Well, okay, thank you for educating us on that, if it's correct. What about transgender and gay people relative to atheist bloggers in Bangladesh? Do atheist bloggers, because Bangladesh is notorious for being a horrible place to be an atheist. Yeah, but we could move on. But...
Yeah, we need to, because you have to leave in exactly half an hour.
Okay, fine.
So the next news is terrible. So no clapping. Next news. 9-year-old girl dies after exorcism in Sri Lanka. Sri Lankan police say that they have arrested 2 people connected to the death of a 9-year-old girl who was repeatedly beaten during an exorcism ritual. The 2 suspects in the crime, the woman performing the exorcism and the child's mother, appeared recently in court to hear charges over the girl's death. According to a police spokesperson, the mother believed her daughter had been possessed by a demon and brought her to the exorcist's home so that a ritual could be performed to drive the spirit away. The spokesperson said that the exorcist first put oil on the girl and then repeatedly hit her with a cane. After the girl lost consciousness, she was taken to a hospital where she died. The police urged the public to be cautious about such services, as the girl was not the first to die during this type of ritual.
I have a question. Is there any reason why the title says 9-year-old girl dies after being canned during exorcism, instead of saying that she was murdered by her? Like, she was murdered. Like, right? Like, shouldn't that... She was murdered by her parents, and she was tortured to death, right?
Yes. Yes. So, but she didn't die during the exorcism. She died afterwards in the hospital.
There was a direct causal relationship between the exorcism and her death.
Guys, this is not the right time. But
she's right.
Imagine the pain that you have to go through to die from this. Like, this is like from the people that you're supposed to trust the most, right?
Mm-hmm.
And probably being convinced that this is the best for you. You know, if you died from this, the amount of pain that you must have gone through for this to have to actually be...
That's what I was thinking. I mean, she must have been really hit hard, you know, or maybe the heat, or, you know, who knows if she was, you know, deprived of water. But if it was simply just from being beat, I mean, that's very, very harsh to cause her to, you know, and I don't know, you know, whether she had head trauma from the beating or not, but it's really sad. And I actually am glad that the police are arresting the people, because too often people seem to not charge people in cases like this, or to, kind
I
of
don't know.
go soft on them.
I don't know. Do we know about Sri Lanka? I don't know that about Sri Lanka.
Well, I mean, in the world, I've noticed, like, especially, you hear about this in the United States. Sometimes people aren't charged, or other places, I'm glad that they're saying, like, look, you can't do this.
Is this? Do we know how common this is in Sri Lanka for like exorcism and views like this?
That I don't know if that's a common phenomenon there or not.
I don't know why I feel a lot more sense of betrayal, like when it's coming from your parents. Do you know what I mean? Like, maybe, it's one thing for you to be tortured to death in the most disgusting way possible, because again, if that killed you, that means that every single, like, it was brutal, like you were feeling every
Right, they
one of
had to
that.
really beat this child quite harshly.
But then I just don't know. I don't know. Maybe my perception of this is completely wrong. But to me, the fact that your parents are doing this to you just adds a layer.
Oh,
of,
absolutely.
No, let me just finish, please. Adds a layer of pain, not discussed from us, but from her perspective. I just seeing the people that are supposed to like care for you and love you, and like when you look at some children grow up without their parents showing them enough love, and you feel so sad because they missed so much of what they're supposed to get, so much love and comfort and sense of protection, and you feel like these children missed so much of what they're supposed to get as a child. And then that is only children that their parents didn't hug them, or their parents didn't tell them that they love them, or their parents didn't sit down and spend time with them and read with them. And I feel like, what a betrayal to them. And then you take that, and then you compare it to this story where these people are torturing you. And I'm just thinking, like, what does that do to a mind of a child, where this is your experience with what's supposed to be a source of love and compassion and care? Not only you're not getting that in replace of it, you're getting tortured to death in place of it. Like, if this is not pure hell, I don't know what is. Like, I feel like that is I don't know if it's true, but I feel like that is even more painful than the actual pain of the torture, of the physical pain of the torture. Anyways,
I think you're right, because I mean, if someone survives a situation like that where their parents are, doing this to them or being physically abusive, oftentimes the scars or the physical pain goes away. The psychological pain remains.
You're muted, Armin.
no, I was just saying. I was just nodding. That's all.
Oh, okay.
Should we go to next news?
Yes.
Can we? Okay, next news.
Yes. So, the first American caste. Let me start over. The first American caste discrimination lawsuit. New developments. So we covered the story a few months ago when I wanted to give you guys an update. California regulators sued Cisco Systems in 2020, saying that an Indian engineer faced workplace discrimination because he is a Dalit. The state of California alleges that the major tech industry employer violated civil rights laws by discriminating against a worker because he was born into a lower caste. In October 2020, the federal lawsuit that was previously voluntarily dropped by the California Department of Fair Employment and Housing, saying that it will refile the complaint in the state court. On March 3rd, 2021, a US-based organization fighting against caste discrimination, the Ambedkar International Center, or AIC, approached the California Supreme Court to be admitted as an amicus curiae in the case. Amicus curiae is a person or organization who is not party to the litigation at hand, but is allowed to offer the court their expertise on the matter concerning the lawsuit.
It's like a friend of the court. Whenever you hear that and they say they submitted a friend of the court brief, that's what it is.
Yes. The testimony of this courageous Dalit engineer has opened the floodgates, with many more now speaking openly about their experiences of caste discrimination in the workplace. So this is really significant because this is the caste system, far beyond India's borders. And it's entering the workplace of Silicon Valley. This happened in San Jose. This is in the Bay Area.
Wait. What happened to don't impose your foreign values on India? Keep your Abrahamic mindset out of our Hindu country. How are these people now imposing their Hindu mindset in a non-Hindu country, and they're trying to enforce their culture? They're imposing their culture outside of India. Isn't this the same thing they accuse other people of doing in India all the time? This is like creeping Hinduism. This is creeping Hinduism.
It's easy for them to creep because their gods and goddesses have so many arms and legs.
Ooh, yeah.
Oh my god. Some more from the article. Quote, the caste discrimination case is a major milestone in the transnational anti-caste movement. In the U.S., it has forced the social institutional operations of caste out of the shadows, said Anjathya Subramanian, who is the chair of the Department of Anthropology and a professor of South Asian Studies at Harvard University. And she's the one who said that, this Dalit engineer speaking out is what opened the floodgates for many more to talk about their experiences with caste discrimination. And the AIC is only one organization. Several Indian American groups have added their names in the brief. The Ambedkar King Study Circle, Anti-Caste Discrimination Alliance, Boston Study Group, Ambedkarite Buddhist Association of Texas, and 7 more, including what appears to be a Sikh organization, possibly. And noting that the outcome of this case will materially impact the lives of untouchables the most, IAC said it firmly believes that legal protection is the first and most important step in the fight for justice for Dalits. When a rare Dalit like John Doe, whose real identity is protected, navigates the system, fighting an existential struggle, makes it to the IITs, which is prestigious colleges in India, technical colleges, and even manages to get into Silicon Valley's tech companies, he is still mocked for being someone who does not make it to the main merit list. Despite making it to the top, he is told over and over again that he can't work, that he doesn't have the necessary skills, or that he does not belong in the tech world of Cisco. No matter what a Dalit does, it's never enough. How much do Dalits have to do to prove their worth? Said Dr. Shailaja Pike, who is a professor at Stanford, or fellow at Stanford.
Sorry, I was paying attention to live chat. Do we tell people what Dalits are to people who don't know?
So for those who don't know, there's the caste system, and people are ranked according to birth, and Dalits are so low that they fall outside the caste system, and they're known as
the lowest of the lowest you could be. Okay, so always when you say Dalit, just assume that we have new audience that doesn't know what the Dalit is. But lowest of the low according to Hinduism. God damn it! I hope I'm not enforcing the caste system. Yeah, but also, by the way, Goddess Katie is a Dalit, so we have a proud Dalit here. Goddess Katie saying there are even Indian American kids who are not allowed to date non-Indians or someone outside their caste. let's spend very little time on this because I want to spend more time on the last news. I just want to comment. I used to date a Hindu girl, and I remember like their parents, their main issue was only to make sure that I will never become a Muslim. Like they were like they wanted to make sure that their daughter is not dating a Muslim. They were like, we don't care, whatever you want to be, you could be. And I was like, they asked me a couple of times, like, are you sure you're not a Muslim? I was like, yeah, I'm not a Muslim. I was like, okay, are you sure? Are you sure about that? They're like, yep, 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 yep. So that was their main thing. But I think they're considered progressive compared to some other Indian families that they didn't, the fact that I wasn't Hindu wasn't an issue. Sus?
So Bubba is saying Ambedkar,
Yep.
who's anti-caste icon, predicted that the caste system will become a global issue as more Indians immigrate. And she also says, in response to someone else saying, like, I didn't realize this was a problem, she said, it is. Watch the Indian matchmaking. The second generation, meaning people who are second generation immigrants to a country, are asking the matchmaker for upper caste matches. And I want to give an interesting anecdote. So Katie was saying, like, oh, there's some Indian American kids who are not allowed to date non-Indian people. Like, I knew about that, and that's not exclusive in any way to Indians. There are a lot of people, various ethnic groups, who aren't even immigrants, who that's the culture or that's enforced within their family. That's pretty common. However, I wasn't aware to the extent to which casteism is in America until an old roommate of mine was talking about how she had a coworker who was talking about trying to find someone to marry within her caste here in the Bay Area. So in the Bay Area, we have such a large Indian or Indian American population that casteism can still remain because that's how large the population is. You can actually still discriminate in that way. Like, you can maintain that system because there's such a large population here. And that really shocked me. Like, I just didn't expect that, especially in the South Bay, which is where San Jose is. And it's really sad, especially for this man. And what that quote was getting at was like, he struggled against all odds in India, got here to a prestigious tech institution. And if you guys don't remember, what was happened was that he's claiming discrimination because he has been passed up on promotions and managerial positions repeatedly throughout the years for what he believes is a discriminatory reason because of other higher managers commenting on his name, which often will reveal someone's caste and stuff like that. It's shocking. And it's significant because this is the first time that caste system has been brought up as discrimination in America, especially a lawsuit. It was at the federal level. It was dropped. Now it's going through state courts. And Global is saying the Bay Area will have more engineers and doctors, which is also what Brahmins considered as their God-given right. Not surprising.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but wait, can you bring that back, please?
Whoops.
It's okay.
I clicked. Where'd it go? There we go.
Yeah. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it's also, I think, true that many Hindus think that the whole right, I think Rivka has paused. The whole right of for learning, for education, is a Brahmin right only. Like the Brahmins, which is supposed to be the priestly class, are the only people that are supposed to be learning things, have access to education. I mean, the second highest caste is the warrior caste. Even they shouldn't be learning. Again, I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong about this, but that's what some Hindus at least believe. Am I correct about that? Rivka, do you want to add anything?
Oh, sorry. No. I think that I hope that this lawsuit that is successful in this, because this is something that does follow people and it's really unknown. If you're not in that community, or even if you work at the place, you may not understand at all what somebody means when they're saying, hey, did you see his name? But that is definitely going on, and people do carry it with them. And in this country, it's against the law.
Rivka, your connection is really bad and you're getting choppy and you're is it just for me or Susie you're
No,
getting
Rivka turned into a robot.
Oh,
robots?
it must be
We
this
can't
internet again. All right.
yeah. All right. We can't hear. All right, cool, cool, cool. All right, so
Oh,
okay,
and
yeah.
Bubble is saying yes. Whoops, you are right.
Are there more
The more
presti-
prestigious the profession, the more Brahmins think they own it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, because traditionally they're the only ones allowed to become priests, especially.
Oh yeah, and also
Yes.
Katie is saying this comes from the Vedas. Oh yeah, actually, we need to make an art about this or comic about this. Ram killed Shudra. Basically, this is a lower caste because he was studying the Vedas, which accumulated bad karma in the kingdom. Yes, this
Because that would be outside of his dharma.
yes. We need to turn this story of Ram killing somebody just because they were lower caste. We need to turn that into a comic to educate more people about how disgusting Hinduism is. Okay, cool. All right, all right. Can we clap for the next news?
I mean, I don't like it.
Next news.
Last news. Atheist Republic demonetized on YouTube. On March 8th, 2021, it was brought to the attention of the Atheist Republic leadership, that's me, that their YouTube channel had been demonetized. YouTube has notified Atheist Republic that the channel was demonetized for, quote, containing harmful or hateful conduct. More specifically, quote, conduct that is incendiary, demeaning, or provoking violence or hatred, especially on the basis of protected characteristics. We can reapply for the YouTube Partnership the YouTube Partnership Program to earn our monetization back in 1 month after removing the problematic videos and content. However, with no feedback from YouTube on what protected group or class we were allegedly hateful towards, or in what specific video, we can't tell what videos to delete. If we reach 1,000 patrons, we will be able to keep paying all of our team members without ever having to worry about being demonetized or removed from any platform ever again. So please help us get there by supporting our work on Patreon. Link is in the description.
I'm trying to find the tweet that you sent to Twitter.
Oh, look in the bookmarks. I bookmarked it on Twitter.
Can you just send it to me on Facebook?
Oh my god.
Okay. Oh my God.
I do everything around here.
Yeah. So, guys, okay. So this is something that a lot of people are familiar with. We're not the only people who are complaining about it. They tell you you did something wrong, and they tell you that you can get your monetization back if you fix it. And then you ask them, okay, what do we need to remove so that it's fixed? And they're like, what? Okay, yeah, YouTube. Hey, YouTube, we want to play a game, okay? We want to be on your good side. Tell us what to remove, and we remove it, and then we reapply for monetization again. And like, you got it? If you don't, YouTube is like, well, if you don't know already, that's like, guys, we have thousands of videos, right?
Mm-hmm.
And how do we know which ones to remove? We have no idea. We're going to set up a live stream where we go with you guys over all our videos and we look at them one by one and we decide which ones to remove. We're going to pick them based on their title and the topic and everything, right?
I sent it to you, by the way.
Susie the secretary. God damn it. Your highlight. It was a request. You don't have to send it if you don't want to. Jesus Christ. Why are you highlighting it?
It's not going to happen if I don't do it.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Hey, Susie. Who is somebody that just comes? Okay, let's be honest here.
Oh, boy.
Who is this person that sometimes randomly comes and tells you, like, what can I do to pick something off your plate today? Who is that? Who's that? Who does that? I do.
Who frequently reminds you to do your tasks like every week?
Well, you do. So
Yeah.
it's like a symbiotic relationship, right?
It
So
is.
it's almost as if we both ask each other for favors, right? Like it's not a
Okay,
one-sided. Yeah.
anyways, show the damn tweet.
Okay. All right.
Bobo is saying the YouTube gods want you to find your own path to repentance. YouTube works in mysterious ways.
Exactly. Yeah, it's exactly like how gods behave. All right. So this is what Susie tweeted at Team YouTube. Susie said, "Our channel has been demonetized for harmful or hateful conduct, despite diligently obeying community guidelines." And we're not just saying this. You guys have seen that we don't even use certain words. Like we say the big H, right? For that thing that happened during World War II. We say Yahtzees instead of using the N word. We say Adolf for that guy instead of using like, and we're very, as when it comes to hateful conduct, we are constantly saying that, clarifying that we're anti-religion. And when it comes to religious people, we have been very, very clear not only that we are in favor of protecting their rights and defending them against discrimination, we don't say that. We have dedicated entire shows and hours of content dedicated to highlighting Muslims who are being discriminated against, Hindus who are being discriminated against. Like, we have been very, very good at making sure that we attack people's ideas, but we don't promote any hate or any discrimination or any violence against any group of people. Like, we have been one of the most clearest channels on that, right? We have been so um, diligent on this issue that we have gotten a lot of pushback from other anti-Islamic or anti-Hindu channels that call us Muslim or Hindu apologists, right? When it comes to Judaism, we have been actively promoting the rights of Jewish people while not holding back on how much we're against the religion. We have been so consistent on this. So both when it comes to if it's just an algorithm thing, we have been very careful with not using the words that might trigger YouTube. But when it comes to like, even if it comes to actually what we're doing, not just like pretending like we're trying to hide anything, we also actively, on purpose, intentionally been fighting for the rights and against the discrimination of people who are ideologically against us. This channel has been a role model for that behavior, to be against ideas and not against people. And then yet we get accused of harmful and hateful conduct. I mean, if this channel, who has been so clear about not crossing the line when it comes to hating ideas but not the people who believe it, if this channel gets accused of being hateful or harmful, then basically how could you not be harmful or hateful? Like, this is like, so, but even then we're like, it's fine. Okay, it's their platform, it's their rules, it's fine. We're not people are like, oh, what happened to free speech? We don't think our free speech has been violated. Okay, you have certain rules, you don't want certain content in your platform, tell us which ones are wrong. They don't tell us. So we don't even know how to get back on their good grace. Like, we don't know what we did wrong. So anyways, the tweet continues. Despite diligently obeying community guidelines, please reconsider. And we linked, Susanna links to our video, to our channel. And then she continues saying, also, we have no way to identify the problematic content or correct it before reapplication. Please help. And I think YouTube responded. Oh, here, yeah. YouTube responded saying, well, we can't share specifics. Very helpful. Why can't you share specifics? Like,
Because
why
it's
can't
a
you?
public platform.
Okay, yeah, but you can miss it. Okay, you should have received an email with detailed info about why your channel was demonetized, plus next steps. You can always reapply in 30 days after making changes to your content. Yeah, I know. We want to do that. And Susie responded, "Hi, Team YouTube. We have not received any email from YouTube regarding our demonetization." And YouTube says, "We recommend checking your spam and junk folder to see if the email went there. No worries, you can always reapply." No worries, you can always reapply in 30. We know we can reapply in 30 days. That was the original question. We know we can reapply for 30 days. We don't know what to remove before we reapply. We know that. No worries. Yeah, no worries at all. Guys, even when you reapply, the process of getting approved takes a while. So this is a huge cost to Atheist Republic. We have artists, we have video editors to pay. Like, just like, imagine this, basically YouTube is our boss, right? Like, we're working for YouTube, we get a cut, they get a cut, right? So imagine if your boss just shows up today and you're like, hey, you did something wrong. So this month we're not gonna pay you. And you're like, okay, but I have rent and stuff. I'm like, no worries. If you correct what you did wrong, this month you're not gonna get paid, but next month you're gonna get paid. They're like, okay, that's not really good. No, like, no worries. What do you mean no worries? I have bills to pay. Okay, but okay, fine, I guess, sure. I will fix what I did wrong and I'll get paid next month. What did I do wrong? Your boss is like, check your email. I'll send it to you. I'm like, you didn't. I'm like, no worry. And then your boss repeats, no worries. You can reapply next month. I'm like, okay, but my reapplication depends on me fixing what I did wrong. Can you tell me what I did wrong? Like, this is insane. Like, what kind of, this is $1 billion. This is the level of communication you get from YouTube. And again, a lot of people are like, guys, oh, Armin, you said this is not free speech violation, so you deserve this. A lot of people are saying that to us. They're like, we're still saying this is not a free speech violation, you idiots. This doesn't change our stance. Just because we think something is a bad policy or not good communication or something that is not helping the platform become a place where people could have discussions, just because we think we can still criticize something as a bad idea without calling it a violation of free speech. Why is that so hard for people to understand? People think that if you say this is not a violation of our free speech, that means you're saying that we support it, this is good. It's as if, like, somebody like slaps you and you're like, well, this is not murder. Or like, oh, so you think you're okay for slapping people in the face? Like, oh my God, people are dumb. Did you want to say something before I show some of the comments?
I mean, yes, I did check the freaking spam folder. Like, that's not.
It's so stupid. They're like, hey, have you checked the spam folder? Like, no, monetization. Something as important as a monetization on our channel, we didn't check the spam folder. God damn it, we have checked the spam folder. So I think the reply to this should be like, we have checked the spam folder, and yes, we already know that we can reapply in 30 days, but we don't know if you're going to get reapproved because you're not telling us what to fix before we reapply. Like, that's obviously what we're trying to tell you. Stop acting like a robot if you're actually human. I don't know if this is actually human talking to us, but if you're actually human, like, stop acting more like a human and actually read what we're telling you. Anyways, look at some of the dumb comments. You ready to get angry? Here.
Oh God. I'm not.
No, here. Look. Okay, I'll just do one.
I was so upset when we got demonetized. I was devastated.
No, it's fine. Guys, if we get to 1,000 patrons, when we don't have to dance around YouTube rules anymore, okay? Oh, look at this one. This is funny. Wait, hold on.
Although I think the demonetization sucks, I bet there's a lot of people in this group that are cheerleading the cancel culture front when it is aimed at right-wing things. Not good then, not good now. Stop tribing up. I guess stop being tribal.
I think this is the one that I wanted to highlight, right? So Lincoln is saying, not so funny anymore, is it? Oh, well, their platform, their rules. Ain't that right, leftist? Based on the amount of replies, it seems like it's struck a nerve. So I think these are a lot of people who think that we are a leftist channel.
This hilarious. These people also think that we support QAnon because we made a shit post about communism.
Yeah. So we basically because we made a post about communism, a lot of people think we're far right, and a lot of people think, like, maybe because we're against Trump, we're like a leftist channel. But they're like, yeah, you get what you deserve. And first of all, it is their platform and it is their rules. Like, they have every right to do this. Okay, we're not changing our stance because it's happening to us. They have every right to do this. They have every right to have bad policies. It's not going to stop us from pointing out that these are bad policies just because they have right. Guys, if you have to have such a binary mindset to think that if you don't like something, that means you should go as far as say that you don't have the right to do it. This is not that binary, guys. They have a right to do it, but it's a crappy idea. How do you not get that this is not mutually exclusive? I'm still gonna say, yeah, YouTube, guess what? YouTube has the right to just randomly remove our channel without any explanation. Without YouTube could even actively come and say, hey, we remove your channel because we just didn't like your logo. We just looked at it, we're like, ew, that's an ugly logo. We just remove your channel. Do they have the right to do that? Yes, they even have the right to do that. Okay. But we're saying they have the right to do that. It's not an endorsement of that idea. You have to be really dumb not to understand the difference between these things. Okay? Anyways. Susie's upset. I can see. Oh, Susie's sad. It's okay. It's okay. Guys, that's why we're here on this channel. This channel is monetized. And at some point, we're going to get to 1,000 patrons. And then we're going to be able to not worry about these things anymore. Okay?
We might take another wave of the BJP coming after us.
Yes, BJP, can you attack us again? Last time you attacked us, we went from 100 patrons to 300. We need another BJP attack. we are at 372 right now. Yes. So we had a major growth in the past couple of months. So that was amazing. It took us 10 years to get to 100 patrons, and it took us like 2 months to get to 100 to 350 or something, right? That was amazing. So
September.
Yeah, so we just need another wave of Hindutva hate coming at us, and then we'll be good. Okay. All right. Yes, more sexy Cali. That's exactly what we need. Yeah. Cool. Anyways, guys, we're gonna end this here. I'm gonna have to go. Oh yeah. Oh,
You're
God,
late.
I'm late. Bye.
Oh.
Subscribe to our newsletter. Subscribe to our newsletter to get our blasphemous art. That also makes it so that even if our channel gets removed completely, we'll still be able to get in touch with you. Also, you get the free version of our blasphemous art if you're subscribed to our newsletter. It will be sent to you, and you also get the free version of my book, Why There's No God. You get a free copy of this if you're subscribed to our newsletter. Link in the description. Subscribe. Do it now.